Today's video, we're going to be checking out the Hasbro Avengers Infinity War. This is Titan Heroes Series Power Effects Thor. So let's find out how tall Thor stands. We'll put the tape measure next to him. The figure is about 11.5 or 11.75 of an inch tall. Unlike the other Titan hero figures, Thor actually comes with an accessory, this rather impressive sword. It's got some nice detailing here in the handle or hilt area of the sword. Rather long-handled sword as well, which casts out to what looks to be a painted silver blade. Plastic is probably gold. The blade over top of that has been painted in silver. He can hold it, but he can only hold it in one of his hands. The other hand is completely closed shut. And you just have to pry the fingers slightly away from one another to get the sword to sit perfectly in his hand. But he does do that. Does make it a little on the top heavy side. But he does hold the sword. I do find that Thor with the sword does, yes, make him very top heavy, and to the point where sometimes, well, frequently, he falls over. We'll go ahead and take the sword out of his hand. Now this, to scale this figure, to show you how tall he stands, we'll put him right over there. How about a figure that we just recently looked at? Here's Titan Hero Series Thanos, which, to his credit, it looks like perhaps Thanos is just a little bit taller, just a hair taller than Thor. Also, some comparisons. We can bring Thor over, move over Thanos, and let's bring in the wall crawler Spider-Man to show you guys how big these figures are. And all of them are close to about a 12-inch tall figure, so they are a little on the bigger side. So move him out of the way, move Thanos out of the way, and try not to make all the mess onto the side. For the figure itself, here we have Thor. I was going to say Thanos. Here we have Thor with the eye patch now on his eye. Not understanding quite yet where the movie goes. I guess at some point Thor eventually gets his eye fixed. Because I mean, from some product shots and press shots from the movie, we see Thor without his eye patch. So at some point, I'm sure he must get his eye healed along the way. On the back of the figure, you have the same plug on the back that the Titan's Power Effects backpack will plug into, and I'll show you guys that in a second. The circuitry looks like it's pretty consistent with one another, that they all look the same. The figure itself, not bad. Not bad at all. Actually, I do think that the face sculpt looks much better than what we got with the basic class Thor. His outfit is, on the other hand, a little missing on paint. Or they just decided to have what looks to be the same similar color from the bottom to the top. Now, it looks as if Thor is going to have darker colors in the movie. But here we have very shiny black plastic and equally shiny dark brown, which is almost very close to the black here. They've sculpted in the leg muscles, which almost look like they've put in too many leg muscles into his legs. But nonetheless, there's his boots. The undersides of his boots, no peg holes or anything like that. None of these figures seem to be sporting peg holes. And then we've got his more traditional looking Thor top. Paint, I would say for the most part, is pretty clean. Don't really have too many issues with it. I'm guessing in most instances when it comes to these Power Effects figures that the plastic is molded rather than painted. I don't see very many instances in which the plastic has been painted, other than perhaps the neck area. And then the head would have been plugged over top of that. You see slight discolorations where the flesh tone doesn't look like it's completely applied. Maybe see a little bit of the black or this color plastic peeking its way through. Otherwise, not a bad looking head sculpt. Like I said, the hair looks good. Eye and the eye patch, very nicely done. He's not the most interesting of Thors, at least from an outfit standpoint, but otherwise, not a bad looking figure. Posability on this guy, his head rotates all the way around. His shoulders hinge, well, slightly sadder. They only hinge out to about there. A lot of the culprit is more so this bulge in his in his shoulder, which really stops the arms from hinging any further out than that. You can swivel the wrists and you can still rotate the arms, but it's not nearly as flexible as some of the other Titans hero figures. The legs also split out. Sometimes you get a little creaking from moving the legs out. And you can also move the legs forward and back. I really don't like how they crack like this. It only happens every once in a while. Like I said, forward and back and out. No knee articulation, no elbow articulation. That's about what you would expect for these larger scale figures. As for the sound effects, which is really the sell for this particular line, the power effects all come with not necessarily the backpacks, but the means to project sound if you already have one of these. At the time that I'm shooting this review, I only have two right now. I have the Iron Man, and I have the Iron Spider. It doesn't really matter which one you put in place, as both of them will give you the exact same Thor sounds. But as you can see, and we've discussed this with the other videos, if you press the button on the backpack on its own,
I am Iron Man,
it projects the audio and sound effects specific to this backpack, this pack that's going to go on their back. However, if you take the figure, plug this now into the back, you're going to get the sound effects now of Thor and not Iron Man. We'll go ahead and do that now.
I am Thor, son of Odin.
How much do you want to bet that is not Thor from the movie? It's probably, again, a voice actor that's come in to a studio and recorded the lines for this particular figure. I think it's a little closer than some of the others here.
Avengers, to battle.
And you get some sound effects as well.
Finally, a worthy opponent. I am Thor, son of Odin. Avengers, to battle.
Is it kind of weak that they don't bring in the actors to do the voice clips for these figures? A little bit. But then again, like, would a Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Hemsworth come in? Would they come in and do audio clips for these figures without, of course, getting paid a lot more? And the end result is these figures would be a lot more expensive. So ultimately, they just bring in actors that are close enough. And I would say, to the credit of Thor, that the voice actor that came in to do Thor sounds a lot better and a lot closer than the Spider-Man and the Iron Man. I almost feel like the Iron Man is the weakest of the bunch when it comes to audio. To also show you how it works with another backpack, we'll take off take off the Iron Man to Thor, and we'll add the Iron Spider. You'll notice it will be the exact same. Snap into place.
I am Thor, son of Odin.
So again, it does not matter whether you use Iron Spiders, really for that matter, some of the other ones that were released as well, like for example the Captain America. Captain America would also give you the same sound effects, so it doesn't really matter. It's the figure that triggers really, I guess they have all the clips inside, all the different options available in the backpack, and then the activation is the figure to dictate what audio is going to be used from the back here.
Avengers, to battle.
At the very least, Thor comes with a sword. It does, yes, make the figure a little on the top-heavy side. These little added bonuses of the backpack audio clips benefits the fact that they're not on all the figures. So instead of paying, say, for example, a $30 price point, which I think the ones that came with the audio backpacks, I think those were about a $30 to $35 price point, whereas just the ones without the backpacks, like say, for example, Thor here, this figure was closer to about a $15 price point. So he's a much more affordable means, and then you just can mix and match using the provided packs from the other figures to give you the necessary audio for the figures that don't necessarily have them. I think so far, of all the Titan Hero series Avengers figures that we've looked at, Thor looks the best. Actually, that's not true. I think Spider-Man, looks the best, but from an unmasked figure, I think Thor looks the closest to how he does in the movie itself. It's also pretty cool that he comes with a sword as well. Audio-wise, I think he can also be one of the ones that have the closest to the movie sounding audio. We all know it's not the same actors that came in and provide the audio clips for these, but I think Thor does the best at being the closest to how he actually sounds in the movie. The benefit, like I said, for these particular figures is because they don't have the audio packs included with them, it means that you really only need one of the other figures that come included with the packs, and then you can just add those to any one of these figures to still unlock the audio and the sound effects for this specific figure. So it was really smart on Hasbro's part to not necessarily include every single figure with the pack. It keeps the cost relatively down, and really as long as you have one of them, you can go out and pick up any one of these figures at a much more affordable price. Like I said, the price on these guys are about $15. I happen to get these from toysrus.ca. There was a sale currently happening with them, so it allowed me to pick up one figure, and then the second figure I think was half price, so I was able to get a whole bunch of these. Today, though, nonetheless, we were having a look at the Hasbro Avengers Infinity War. This was the Titan Hero Series Power Effects Thor with a sword and an eye patch. If you guys liked this video, certainly hit it with a like down below. If you also haven't had a chance to hit that little subscribe button, make sure you do so. We're going to have a look at some more Avengers Infinity War goodies leading up to the release of the movie in theaters, so stay tuned for that. Don't worry, don't worry. Still going to be some regular other videos as well. It's not going to be all Avengers. We're going to have some other fun stuff that we're going to be looking at on this channel as well. Either way, make sure you hit that little subscribe button down below so you'll never miss future videos. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you next time.